Hello, I'm Mary Schmidt, and I'm here to discuss a very broad topic and a very serious topic that has been going on here for a lot of years, and it's the topic of mental illness. Now, I know some of you are going through your dark days right now. You're maybe like 21, 22, 20, and you maybe had a job or you were going to college, and all of a sudden all these things started happening to you, like you have bipolar 1 or bipolar 2 or schizophrenia or schizoaffective, which is the schizophrenia along with the bipolar. You're probably having really bad mood swings, or you're really depressed, but I'm here to tell you that you can pull yourself out of it, because I did. I relapse a lot of the time, but I always bounce right back, and the next day I'm just fine. A lot of the time, especially now that I've had this illness for a long time and I know what to expect, I stay on my medication. I make sure I stay on my medication. And that's what I'm going to stress right now. It's very important to take medication. And if your medication isn't working, it'd be it would be a good thing to do if you contacted your psychiatrist and went and saw your psychiatrist as soon as you can. I know dark days were the hardest for me. I was working at a parking garage full time, and I was going to college, and I was getting really good grades, and I was doing really well in my job. And then all of a sudden, I just started hearing voices and hallucinating. And then I started getting teased really brutally by people I didn't even know when they'd come in my parking garage and say, well, you want to be, or whatever, and, say really rotten things to me. And it was like, okay, what's going on here? What's happening? I later found out that I actually had schizophrenia, and then they later diagnosed it with schizoaffective. So you're probably sitting here wondering, when's this illness going to go away? The reality of the situation is the illness never goes away. It's like we have what we have, and we just have to accept the fact that we have an illness. And in order to accept the fact, you have to go through a grieving period. And it's like, I lived in a small town called McMinnville, Oregon. I lived there for a very long time. But ever since I was 17 years old, I had a dream to go to Santa Monica. And I always wanted to live in Los Angeles, but I never thought that dream would come true. Though it took 16 years, and finally, August 4th, 2010, I arrived on the Santa Monica coast. I sat down, I bowed my head, and I said a prayer. You see, I was living in a homeless shelter before I moved to Los Angeles, and I was going to church every Sunday, and I was thinking, there's just got to be something different out there. There's got to be something different for my life. So I was sitting in church one Sunday, and I said, you know what? I'm just going to let God take over. And that's what I did. And he said to me, he whispered inside of me and said, Mary, go on and have a good life. I thought he meant to go on and have a good life and stay in McMinnville, Oregon. Really, he was saying, no, go on and have a good life. So I went to Los Angeles on a Greyhound bus, and I came in here with like $60 in my pocket, and I was like, oh my God, what do I do? So I slept under the pier and everything. But I'm just telling you this story because a dream of mine came true, and I'm trying to explain to you that your dreams can come true too. You don't have to worry that, oh, because I have this illness, I'll never be able to finish college, I'll never be able to get a decent job. Well, that's just a myth. I mean, you might need assistance for now. You might have to move back in with your parents like I did. I mean, I hated living with my parents. It was awful. But, it was just a stepping stone for for the challenges to come, There's a lot of elements that you go through. I especially feel for the kids, the young adults that are in their 20s going through this illness for the first time. My heart goes out to you because I had the hardest time staying on my medication, and finally my counselor said, look, if you don't stay on your medication, you go to jail, you go to the hospital, and you're out there raising hell, basically. So I was thinking, I kind of thought, well, you know what? I don't want to be in denial anymore. Hey, look, I know I'm sick. I know I have what I have. And then they're saying, well, as long as you know that, you'll be just fine. So I've been doing okay here in Los Angeles. I mean, who'd think that now Santa Monica Coast is just a bus ride away? I mean, it's just amazing what's come true in these last few years. I've been living here for 2.5 years, and I'm happy that God said yes to one of my dreams. I mean, it's like when the world says you can't, God is saying you can. And when God says that you're going to do something, and He puts that desire inside of your heart, well, nobody else in this world can take that away. So, I mean, it's just like nobody can say, well, that's never going to happen. That's just a part of your illness. That's just a part of your illusions of grandeur or whatever. No, it's not your illusions of grandeur. It's your dream. Your dream shapes you. It makes you who you are. And that's part of you. That's part of your creation. I don't believe in that. People who say dreams are just self-preservation bullshit. I don't believe in that. I think it's shit. So, I mean, if you want to do something, just take the steps you need to do it. I mean, it's just it can be that simple. I mean, look at all the greats that were mentally ill. Hemingway had a mental illness, and Einstein, all those guys. They all knew what it was like, too. There's movies that have come out about people with mental illnesses who've done great things. You can do great things with a mental illness. It's just society slaps all these labels on mental illness, like, ooh, you're crazy, or you're, or worse yet, a retard, or whatever, which is that is a word I hate, and it's a word I never use. And but really, you might have some great talents and gifts, and you could be brilliant. You never know. So it's like crazy is just basically a label, and it's just people saying, well, it's never gonna happen. Well, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. So, but if you just really listen to what's around you, you'll see that there's a big world opening up waiting for you. And it may be 5 years, it may be 10 years down the road before you go into full mode recovery. But trust me, if you just stay on your medication and get therapy on a regular basis and don't isolate yourself, it'll happen. I'm living proof. Like I said, I relapse a lot and I go off sometimes, but for the most part, I'm okay, And I'm going to college now. I'm starting my first year in college. I'm going to get my degree in liberal arts, and I'm going to be a writer. I'm going to be a journalist. So, people still to this day tell me I could never do it. I could never be this or be that. I just quit fucking listening to them, So if they want to make fun of you or laugh at you or tease you, maybe it's just their own bullshit that's going on within them. So don't listen to it. Like I said, if you're going through your dark days right now, hang in there. Keep your chin up. Just keep taking your medication. That's all I'm going to stress. And don't isolate, like I already said, and you'll be just fine. I'm looking forward to seeing you someday. Hang in there. This is Mary Schmidt.